The flag behind me is one of the most recognizable banners across the East Coast, as well as one of the most unique flags in the entire country. Of course, I'm talking about the state of Maryland, home of warm temperatures, blue crabs, and where I grew up all my life. Many aspects about Maryland are different than here in Ohio, where a lot of Kent State students have lived their whole lives. After living in Kent for about a year and a half, I could talk for hours about the differences between the two states, but I'm going to stick with three main points: the geography of both states, the infrastructure of both states, and the social aspects of both states, as well as some similarities that I've found during my research. Now, the first thing you'll need to know about Marylanders is that we love eating crabs. Blue crabs, Old Bay seasoning, it's basically a staple among Maryland life. That's because of the Chesapeake Bay, a major inlet of the Atlantic Ocean that splits the state up the middle almost in half. It influences our economy, from seafood restaurants and produce to the fishing and boating industries. It also molds the culture of the whole state. Many properties have rivers, streams, or creeks flowing through the backyards, and a lot of homeowners have boats docked on their property. In northeast Ohio, the major body of water is Lake Erie, and while fishing and boating are just as prevalent up here, it has a benefit that the Chesapeake Bay actually doesn't. It's a source of drinking water. According to the Great Lakes Restoration Initiative, Lake Erie provides drinking water for almost 3 million people in Ohio. The Chesapeake Bay provides drinking water for approximately 0 people in Maryland because it's a saltwater body. The Bay is still an influence on everyone's lives in Maryland, and it was an influence on its creation 400 years ago. Maryland was settled in 1634 by settlers coming up the Chesapeake. In St. Mary's County, the first area that was colonized, there are a lot of historical 370-some-year-old buildings made out of wood and stone. Historic St. Mary's City, which is what we name it, was restored a few decades ago just to maintain its historical relevance. However, the rest of my hometown is unique in that it is always changing its image. From an interview with a centenarian who lived in southern Maryland her whole life except for 20 years that she spent away from home, before returning in 1926. Quote, "I remember it seemed like they ought to change the name to Bricktown, because so many brick buildings were there all of a sudden." Southern Maryland has been known for developing quite swiftly, and the swift development, combined with its settlement in the pre-revolutionary era, has led to our roads and bridges lacking in organization. Our highways are much more local, spread out, and zigzagged and crossed than it is up here. Because it was settled after the Articles of Confederation, Ohio is much more organized. Towns are spaced apart by roads connecting them north, south, east, or west, and the roads are straight, connecting them right through the middle. Southern Maryland doesn't even have many incorporated areas that can be well defined as towns. Like most communities in southern Maryland, Brooms Island is an unincorporated, and its precise boundaries are not clearly defined in a physical sense. That was an excerpt from an anthology called Historical Tours in Southern Maryland. Mostly we just self-identify by the county we live in. Like I said, St. Mary's County was the first area that was colonized, and that's where I call home. I've talked a lot about these two areas as just states in general, but now I'm going to discuss the social aspects. Southern Maryland has grown from a small farming community to a developed area, not unlike Kent. The opening of our Patuxent River Naval Air Station 50 years ago brought thousands of jobs into the area. According to the U.S. Census Bureau, the population of St. Mary's has grown in recent years to 110,000, filling up a mere 360 square mile area. One of the challenges the area has to deal with in recent years is traffic management and suburban growth in an already crowded area. I know the commuters at Kent State know what I'm talking about when I bemoan the heavy traffic issues in my hometown. Due to the Naval Air Station base traffic, we have to deal with rush hour every day, just like the university has to deal with the rush hour during the school days. Kent's a great city to live and go to school in, but sometimes I can get homesick from Maryland, which is why I keep this flag in my room. Just looking at the pattern can remind me of the beaches by the Chesapeake Bay. But as you can see, the geography and infrastructure of both states are unique in their own ways, but the social aspects have a lot more in common. I hope this brief insight into my hometown has been interesting for you, and maybe anybody would want to come visit during the warmer months in the summer. Thank you for your attention, and I look forward to seeing the rest of your speeches. And as we say in Southern Maryland, God bless y'all real good.